So, hello again. This video is a sequel of the video in the upper right corner, and it is how I see some good ability card combinations. Before we continue, let me just tell you that this video is sponsored by Rockstar's inability to keep their servers online after launching definitive edition of GTA Trilogy. So, without further ado, let's start with the first build I have in mind. If you're a good shooter, you are good with your aiming and you have no need for painted black, this is very fine build for you. So the build is slow and steady, winning streak, iron lung and fool me once. Now I will of course offer variations of this combo, and those variations will basically do the same or at least similar. But why this combo? The answer is simple. With slow and steady, you're moving slowly, but you're hard to kill. Winning streak gives you, if you're a good marksman, decent bonus for consecutive hits, and your fool me once stops opponents' winning streak if he has it equipped, of course. And Iron Lung is a brilliant part here, cause you're unable to run, thus you burn stamina very slowly, and if you tonic up, you will be basically a moving tank. Slow moving, but still a tank. And when I think of a tank that moves slowly and destroys everyone on his way, I think of a tiger tank. That's why I named this build a tiger tank. So original. Still, regardless of a name, you're a slow-moving, highly sustainable death machine, but it depends a lot on your marksman skill. It is not built for those who are not so good with aiming without painted black. Now, I like this build because it is a very good either for sniping your opponents or going in and fighting in on shorter distances. Now, if you want to make this build to your preference and your style of play, this is where you will make your variations. So let's say we will make a first variation of this build, the sniper. You can all guess where we will make a change in abilities. We will of course switch winning streak for sharpshooter. Really, using a Carcano or a rolling block will need no more than one bullet for a kill. At least so rarely that it really doesn't make sense if you have bonus for consecutive hits. Anyhow, combining these two cards for sniping is overuse of damage. These combat abilities, let's say it like that. You can switch Iron Lung for, let's say, kicking a butt and make some difference, but in all honesty, I wouldn't do so. Now, if you're a sniper and you're a bit away from the center of the fight, you might not be in need for Fool Me Once, so you can swap it for kick in the butt. But I don't know. It could make your Deadeye to last just a bit longer, but I don't know if you really need it. Now, let me tell you just one thing. I really don't like these so one-way builds, but you might find them to your liking. To counter other snipers, you could use Deadeye Slippery Bastard, but that would be my alternative sniper build, going distance. This build is a bit different than the one I already mentioned to you. It is consisted of Slippery Bastard, Sharpshooter, Live for the Fight, and Never Without One. Now, I know I told you Never Without One is a bit overrated, and it is, but I threw it in this build in this formula because Slippery Bastard doesn't protect you from the headshot, from the first headshot, which will not kill you if you use slow and steady. This actually is one of the main reasons I like slow and steady much more than Slippery B. One of the essential things here is to slow down Deadeye drain of Slippery Bastard, and Live for the Fight will do the trick. Staying away from the heart of the battle, let's say like that, and avoiding close conflict will make you a target that can't be hit with this. And you can't be marked with painted black, because when you're actively using Slippery Bastard, so many shots will miss you and you cannot be marked. So this is a fine build for snipers, don't you think? I also have second variation of the Tiger tank. I call this variation Logan 9 Fingers or the Bloody Nine. If you didn't read the first law from Joe Abercrombie and you like epic fantasy, read these books and you will enjoy it. And you will of course understand the name of this build. So let's go further with it. Slow and Steady, Gunslinger Choice, The Short Game, and Strange Medicine. Simple build for those lunatics who lead the first line of any fight. Get in, dual wield your sort of shotguns, take your semi-auto shotgun with you as well, or Lancaster repeater, or even bolt action rifle, why not? And maul your enemies. Beforehand, of course, tonic up mates. Again, if you want to do something different, you can flip Gunslinger's Choice for Fool Me Once for more sustain, or even for the Unblinking Eye. But just don't mix it with Never Without One, cause the head will fall off quickly and then you are done. You will be minced meat in a matter of seconds, really. You can do much more to your personal liking with this build, but remember, the base of this build is slow and steady and a short game. Before continuing, let me just tell you that I do not want to bother you with similar builds, cause you can all find alternatives and I've offered you some, but instead I want to offer you the base and you can make your build on it. You can make differences to your liking. I will of course give what I think goes best with each other, those cards that goes best with each other, but you can always make your own and I think you will not make a mistake. So far you learned enough about ability cards to make your own builds that will be this good or even better. But let's go to the other build I have for you. It is based on slow and steady and I call it Predator Hunter. Again, very original. Slow and Steady, Horseman, Short Game or Winning Streak, and The Unblinking Eye. Now, the name of the build speaks for itself. First step, tonic up. Mount. Spot the animal, fire your first round, with your sniper preferably. Fast switch to your shotgun, that's essential part. Now activate the dead eye. Beast will already be near your horse, but when slow and steady is activated, your horse won't back you off. And you will be safe to choose where to place your bullets. Short game is maybe a bit better than winning streak for this situation, just cause cougars and panthers will place themselves behind your horse, and when they do so you will be able just to hit their tail, and well, you will miss once, and bonus will restart. So if you have a short game, you don't care about that bonus. But in all honesty, it won't matter that much, since you will always kill the beast long before your dead eye drains completely. Again, if you want to make this build a bit different, I have a bonus tip for you, but you're probably aware of it. I will still say it. You cannot use painted black when you want to hunt legendary animals, so forget about that switch. Now, we go for painted black builds. My favorite builds in all honesty. There are dozens of them around already, but these are the best in my humble opinion. This one is my favorite. I call it Jack of all trades. It is consisted of painted black, winning streak, iron lung, and fool me once. This build is good for PvP. You have enough sustain, but not nearly enough as tanks of course. But you counter tanks with painted black and winning streak. Fool Me Once is here to counter their streaks. When I start Deadeye, I always paint at least 2 if not 3 marks on each target, and well, that will suffice. Now, if there is more than 2 targets nearby, I try to paint 2 of them, but that rarely ends in them being dead and me doing Lucky Luke Sunset Farewell. Anyhow, this is very potent and competent build for PvP. But besides that, this build is perfect for PvE. This especially proves to be right when you use a weapon loaded with a lot of bullets, like repeaters or dual-wielded revolvers. You can actually deal serious damage to legendary animals. Just find a spot, a rock where they can't climb and they won't be able to take you down. And you can always do the trick, a simple swap when you spot legendary animals that can kill you. Just swap painted black for slow and steady and you will be able to maul your animals, your legendary animals in no time, really. Now, this is basically the way I play the game. I always, almost always use my Jack of all trades build, and when I spot legendary animal, I just stand for a couple of seconds, swap painted black for this slow and steady, then shoot at legendary animal, swap painted black back, and go further. Now there's a couple of variations of this build of course, but I'd like to emphasize that this build is not suitable for players who play like snipers only. You can snipe just fine, don't get me wrong, and I do most kills in one shot, but I don't use a sharpshooter, so I suggest you to avoid it all the same. The only thing I would change here for fine-tuning is swap of recovery ability, and these are options. As I said, I use Iron Lung, but you can use Eye for an Eye or Strange Medicine, all the same. And in all honesty, it is hard to decide which of these three abilities is better pick. And don't forget that Jack of all trades is Master of none. You can't do wild run in the center of the field if you have Jack of all trades. Well, the reason is not enough sustain, of course. You can't outsnipe the tanky sniper unless he's blind, of course, or blinded or completely unskilled. But still, if he's heavy sniper, you will hardly kill him. So this balanced build is for those players who don't like to change their set often. And there is also one other variant I used for a while before this build, and it is consisted of painted black, strange medicine, to fight another day, and kick in a butt. And this build is, well, the best suited for PVE or NPC kills. I called this version of Jack of all trades NPC Circle. Because what you basically do here is trading Deadeye for health when you mark and kill NPC. Then you trade health for Deadeye when NPC hits you with kicking a butt, and then you trade stamina for sustain. Cause running around NPCs makes sense contrary to running around players who mostly paint you black. Again, we passed 10-minute mark. I will cut it shorter. Now, I can create a dozen of other builds for you, but I would just be creating insignificant changes. If you want to be different and creative, you can make build like Melee Fighter, quite an inspiration, Iron Lung, winning streak, and come back stronger. It is great for situation like a fight club when you and your friends, online friends maybe, have some sort of a fist fighting. You can throw in necessity breeds or kick in a butt in the equation, but it's all down to your preference. Or you can create a build as a team doctor. I call it Doctor House. Again, so creative name. Lame. I made it with quite an inspiration, kick in a butt, strength in numbers, and hunker down. You can even use the unblinking eye. In all honesty, I would never use this build in normal situations, but it can be fun if you play with your friends and especially against other players. There's an endless number of builds we can create, but we should stop here. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you liked my builds and this video, and if you did, I hope I earned your like and subscription. See you in the next video soon. Bye bye!